Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Welcome back.
Thank you. How's your new office?
Yeah. This is in the living room, and yeah.
Hello. So I shall just wait a few seconds. Ruben is around. Not sure about Robert. I would expect not, but we shall see. Skowek is not as well. So let's begin. So Henry, this is a release manager role, so you're unfortunate that Robert's not here again. But would you thank you for putting in the diagram. Would you want to just give us kind of like highlights of MTTP this week?
Yeah, so the highlight of MTTP is that it's slowly getting down all the time. So it's nothing special to pick out here, but is support.
We're losing you a bit.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, I don't know what's up with my internet connection here. So it looks like since we have APEC support with Green, it's looking a little bit better with how many deploys we can get through each day. And as we didn't have really long and big blockers, like something like a production change log or something like that, preventing a lot of deploys per day, I think in general we are doing pretty well. I think that's the trend. Like the more deploys we do per day, the better. And it doesn't really matter if we block some deployment for a while, as long as we maybe get it unblocked before the next one is getting blocked. Because on average, then we still do a lot of deploys and get a good average on timing. So I think you should keep it like that and maybe try to deploy as often as we can.
Yeah, for sure. Great to see it looking so low. And number of deployments is super high, so that's great news. So that, I guess that I have to think about that, but that's kind of interesting that with number of deployments is so high. Is that maybe that's Graham, right? So we're being a load more efficient on deployments, but perhaps they're taking a little bit longer. Like I'm surprised MTTP perhaps isn't a touch lower given how many more deployments we have, but maybe that's.
I'm not sure about the numbers from previous month, but I think we often just skip the deployment if we felt like, okay, we spent some time fixing some issues and the next one is near now, so let's skip this one and just take the next one. And I think in the recent weeks we didn't do that as often. Like we often just still got it through and then let the next one pile up in baking time and still get it through. So the number of deployments was going up, and also, of course, Scream pushing one more through each night makes a difference. So I think that's it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's related, but I was looking at the number of packages that we tagged over the last week. And also there is an increase because usually we do 5 packages over the course of 24 hours, and we have the spike up to 7 packages at the beginning of the week. And then we were trending around 6 packages a day. So we're kind of over tagging every day compared to the regular auto deploy schedule. So either we're picking stuff, maybe we didn't deploy it, but this is still an extra data point.
Yeah, I think we had 2 or 3 cases where we picked something into auto deploy because of an urgent fix. And then we tagged because of a lot of patch releases and stuff, but that shouldn't count into this, right, for auto deploys. So, but I think for these pick into auto deploy things, we had 2 or 3 times that also gave us an additional deployment then.
Nice, great. Well, it's great to see MTTP looking so low. Nice work. Is there anything that you can think of that would make would be something we should prioritize doing to improve MTTP or make release management easier?
Yeah, I think one tendency that I see is that jobs tend to fail, right? So, not picking up something, job getting stuck, a network error when trying to pull the repository or something like that. So that sometimes happens. And I have the feeling, I don't have numbers, but I have the feeling that this is occurring more often now. Maybe we also just have more deployments, more jobs running through. And this is annoying because you can't really rely on our pipelines to be reliable. So often you need to, you wait for a deployment to finish, and then it takes time and it doesn't finish. And you look into the pipeline and see, okay, a job got stuck. And you need to trigger it again. And you didn't see an error for that one, for instance. It's not very often, but I saw this a few times. And I think this is the general thing with GitLab.com and how reliable it is, right? I think our customers will see the same thing. If they have a lot of jobs, they will also more often see failures of jobs.
Do you know, do we tend to open issues for those failures?
Not yet. Like if a job got stuck and I see I just need to cancel and restart it, then I normally don't open an issue for that, but I should maybe open one up because I saw this more often in recent weeks. And,
it would be worth doing, because then I think we can work out, like, you know, even if it's like a specific error, even if it's like a specific error, and then I think I've seen this a few times, we can then start to work out, because I don't think it's necessarily always things we can just fix within delivery. But I know that we have seen cases recently of like jobs just never really getting started, and then you come back like an hour later and like there's just no log output, you have to cancel it and restart it. So there are a few of those flaky ones, but yeah, it'd be worth, don't necessarily have to be incident that we tag, but it'd be worth just getting an issue open for the failure, and then we can get some, like, work out how to fix them basically. Super. Great. So announcements. I've moved the read only because you probably all know, but the 360 feedback deadline has moved through to the 10th of September, so it's Friday. What I need to find out, I will be able to find out tomorrow when people are back from the US holiday, is how that's going to impact the rest of the timeline. So the original timeline had kind of this week as a review week, and then things being shared next week. I'm not sure if it will mean everything shifts out a week. So I'll confirm to you and let you know on that one. But hopefully it doesn't push it out too far. Awesome. So Myra.
Yep, thanks. There is a construction next door, so there might be weird noises. I was reading the Engineering Week this morning, and I noticed that there is a proposal for a feature PCL, which basically means that if a team causes an incident, whether it's an S1 or an S2, the next 5 days or so are going to be dedicated to develop tools or something that could have prevented this incident. And these tools or issues are going to be owned by the team. I think it is interesting, and there is a part that might concern us because I think one item mentions that all these changes needs to be reviewed by an SRE or something so they can be deployed. So probably something that we should take a look and read further.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Myra. I saw the thing, I haven't had a chance to read it. And I would hope that we'll be able to get reliability involved in this. Like, you know, I would think that at least some of the review would be as someone involved in the incident. You know, here's the thing. So it hopefully won't be only on us, but some of it certainly will.
I didn't have the chance to read through it, but does it sound like basically the team that is attributed the outage is prevented from merging stuff, new features, but because it's not a production changelog, right? So they are not allowed to merge new stuff in, and so they have to work on reliability and things like that. So it's kind of error budgets in a monolithic application, kind of.
Yeah, that's how I read it.
I think that makes sense. Like, there's lots of development going on with error budgets at the moment. So if it's in that sort of sense, I think that makes sense. And I guess that this might also be sort of related to the fact that over the last few months when we've had PCLs, they've very disproportionately affected infrastructure, whereas actually development really don't have a huge part in a regular PCL. They can kind of just continue with their lives. We don't deploy any changes. So I think this is also part of trying to bring the teams closer to actual PCLs as well. But thanks for sharing, Myra. I haven't had a chance to read that, but yeah, you're right that we should review that, and but also consider if there's anything we want to add in, like as an addition from delivery, because the whole once again, like the really big thing that delays us on MTTP is incidents. So actually, if there's anything additional that we can add in that would make things safer, it could overall end up being faster. Cool. So I was curious about, so we are now 1 month in to this quarter. Is there anything that anyone feels like we need to adjust on, like, process, goals, like things like that? Like there's things, it feels like there's lots of it going on. I guess that's kind of normal at GitLab, but just, given we are 1 month in, yeah. Unbelievable, right? In fact, just over 1 month. So like 6th of November, we'll be in Q4. So is there anything that, like, I'm just bringing this on you. I'll open a proper issue so everyone can contribute on this one, but just kind of off the top of your head, like other things we should be adjusting on. One thing I was kind of wondering if whether we need to think about at all is how much is new staging impacting on our OKR work? So as we went into this quarter, we set up an OKR, and it's all around rollbacks, putting in place rollback practice, building out more of the visibility you've started on, Alessio, but also doing more stuff around the Kate's workloads and the deployment stuff, but as a team. And I think what we've seen coming into this quarter is, although we're not doing a lot of the hands-on staging canary work, it is impacting us. It does take up space, and it's also sort of shifted the priorities for the work you're doing, Myra, around the single pipeline, because we will depend on some of the, whereas for rollbacks we perhaps wouldn't have had to have all these single pipeline pieces in place. They'd be more of a nice to have. For this new staging, we probably do. So should we, like, is there anything we can do around that? Like, do people, like, do you feel the same? Like, or is there anything you want to adjust on that one?
So I was at the beginning of last week, I think, I don't remember, I was reviewing some of those changes of the new staging. The things that scares me is that basically is happening outside of the team. So there may be things that get overlooked or things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not really, say, happy about how we are doing this, because basically is something that is pushed on us, and I'm not really sure about our involvement in this, let's say.
I can support this statement, because I was affected by this a lot of times last week during release management, because when they worked on this, like mostly Jav and Pierre, they of course overlooked some things, and I think they often worked during APAC times, like Pierre, for instance. So changes came in, which I didn't know about. And then I saw pipelines failing for deployments, right? Because we had 2 deployment nodes, for instance, which made problems. Then we had migration jobs running twice, for instance. And then we had other smaller pieces being surprising. And this often happened without me really knowing this. I know that they often had the MRs for these changes out for review by the team, but I didn't have the time to really look through all of them. So for instance, we got this MR to include gstaging canary in 2 auto deployments, and it was merged in, but I didn't have time to review it. And so I didn't really know that this was happening. And then this morning I saw, okay, we have staging canary stage now, which is an auto deploy, which worked, but surprised me a little bit, and also caused some trouble because I did some config changes and forgot that I need to put this into canary now too, because it's also running there. So yeah, I think this knowledge sharing of what change is coming in now and being aware of that could have been improved. Yeah.
This also reminds me that I was commenting on that merge request, and yeah, I didn't notice that it got merged. So I was looking now that you were speaking that yes, we are deploying to the new environment, and yeah, I need to figure out what comment I left and if it was important, because I don't remember getting any answer.
Yeah, actually, it's working, and they did a good job to react to problems. So Pierre was staying up very late this time, like up to midnight, I think, for him to fix things and look into things. So they really did a good job, but it's still a lot of friction coming from this change, which is kind of expected.
Yes, so we're going to need to work out, I think, how we if we have additional things. I haven't had time to think about whether it's better or not, but it wasn't. I was expecting staging canary to be part of the staging deployment pipeline, because one thing having it as a separate pipeline is that we can be deploying to staging canary and staging at the same time. But actually, I need to now dig into what Zeph's going to do with the tests to work out if that's going to be an issue or not. It isn't for production, so that could be fine, but staging is a little bit different. So I was expecting those to be linked together. So it could be fine, but yeah, we need to think through about whether there's kind of additional tooling. So just from a kind of initial gut feeling for you all, like, do it for staging canary, are we going to need to go back now and spend some time, do you think, like improving tooling and things to incorporate it? Or is it going to be that it's just initially painful getting it in and we can work around the kind of the rough edges for a little bit?
I think we are around the rough edges now in most cases. So I think it's working now. So we found all the things that really hurt us last week and the week before. And I think now it's just working. We just need to get accomplished, or we need to get into the habit of thinking about that there's another staging canary stage now, because if you do config changes and forget about canary in staging, this can cause trouble. But
could you add that back into the MR templates, Henry? Because like trying to have things that you don't have to keep in your mind all the time would be helpful. Like or in the like Kate's workloads kind of contribution docs, but you know, for those sorts of changes, like if there's somewhere we can write it that would help just prompt people, then
yeah, it's the same situation like we have in gprod, but there we are used to this, and we need to get used to this in staging now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if this is really a good point to document this there, but you need to start thinking about this now. And if you forget about it, then you are surprised.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that our rollback documentation and everything we have around that is kind of in a weird state, as well as, yeah, I'm thinking about all the place where we are linking, for instance, deployment metrics. Are we also now linking the GSTG canary metrics or not? Are they collected by, because these metrics are collected. So are we collecting those metrics also? Not just collect, we collect the metrics, but they are recording rules. So are we recording this information also for the new environment or not? I didn't check yet. So it's like all good questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you've got ideas like for things like that, then feel free to like just open an issue, we can get those checked. So Pierre, Craig and Cindy are all working on this project. So, you know, like they all know what they're doing, but we probably just need to give them some guidance on like the things we'd like them to check or give us feedback on. Cool. Okay, well, let's see how it goes. Like for this one, let's say we're in the kind of painful early stages of solving the staging problem. There are still quite a lot of staging problems that we get the benefit of. The main one is that we use staging for our kind of deployment testing and rollback testing, quality user staging for like QA tests. But we also have all the developers who use staging for actual like testing feature flags and going through testing of things, and we kind of disregard all of that stuff at the moment, and we just roll back at will, and we do what we need to do, deploy at will. But hopefully kind of longer term, once we've solved this pain of like doing all the things on one staging, we'll be able to have like staging on demand, and people could actually have the environments they need to test stuff, including us and our config changes. So hopefully things will get better, but we're in the kind of messy first stage, unfortunately. Awesome. Is there anything else people want to talk about on this recording?
Just one quick question. Since Robert, I'm not sure if he's going to show up today, or Skarbek, I know he's out. Should I be covering the release managers for America?
That's a super good question. Thank you, Myra. Yes, if you wouldn't mind. Robert hasn't put it into Roots, but he's not online, and I would be surprised if he was, because it is Labor Day over there, so it is a public holiday. But yes, if you wouldn't mind, like it will be quiet, because I think you'll be pretty much the only person online. So,
don't jinx it, Amy, please.
Yeah, I said this to Robert. I had to go back and apologize when everything broke. Like literally everything broke. But like if we could just get like one out and then Graham can do another, then that like it doesn't have to be all the deploys like our regular cycle if you have other things planned. But yeah, thanks, Myra. Good, very good and important point.
Yeah, thanks. I will leave you a handover message, but there's nothing really to hand over at the moment, so it should be fine.
We double jinx that everything's going to be broken.
Double jinx.
Literally everything. Awesome. All right, I'll stop the recording.